Hey guys, what's up? I wanted to talk about the ranked system. I came back to the game, as I'm sure a lot of people did, with the release of 2.0, and I think there's some pretty big problems with it. Although I think it has improved, I want to talk about what I think is wrong with it first. Before I quit playing, back in October of 2015, I was really high rated. I was number 27 on the North American leaderboard in October. And now that I've come back, I am obviously much worse. I don't know what's going on in the meta. I don't know what characters are good on certain maps, what characters are bad on certain maps. I'm just a pretty weak player overall. And because of that, my record is horrible. I just jumped right back into ranked, and maybe because of a mix of bad luck and poor play, my rating is negative 17 for the season. You can see 17 more losses than wins. After my placements, I was put in Diamond 3, and now I am in Diamond 2. This should never happen in a ranked system. If I'm losing over 50% of my games, I have to derank. I think that this could partially be because while I was not playing for over a year and a half, my hidden MMR was not decaying, which is also a problem. Because when I come back, I'm banning 90% of my games. I feel like at very least 80% of my games I'm banning, which would indicate that there is a hidden MMR and it's influencing who bans. So because of this, I feel like maybe the system is trying to put me higher, because every time I lose around 150, and when I win, I'm winning 250. So because of that, although I've lost many more games than I've won, I have actually improved my rating, which I think should never be the case. When I did my placements in I believe 5 or 6 of those games, I was playing with or against Sray from one of the professional teams in HGC, and this could potentially be because he was also leveling up his account for the season, but just in case it wasn't, assume that I was actually getting into his games, which I was playing at prime time, by the way. They weren't off-hour games. That should never be happening. I should never, as a player who's come back to the game after being gone for a year and a half, I don't know what's happening, I should never come anywhere near playing with a professional player, a player in Grandmasters, even a player in Masters. If I'm in Diamond, I think what should really happen is that my pool of players to play with and against should only be Diamond. I should be playing within my league. And that should be the reward for getting out of Platinum. You no longer have to play with Platinum players. Like that I think that's how the system should work. If I get into Masters, I'm only playing with Masters. If I get into Grandmasters, I think potentially you can play with Masters players, because there's only 200 Grandmaster slots, so you do still want to have those players be able to find games in a reasonable time. But regardless, I've had quite a few games where I'm in a game with Grandmaster players, and having previously been really high rated, I understand how frustrating it is to play and you're really high rated, and to compensate you get players on your team who are lower rated, because when you have things like that happening, then the game no longer is about who is playing the best. I truly feel like it's often who has the bigger idiots on their team, or who's making the biggest mistakes. And when you're putting lower rated players with a really high rated player, not only is the skill gap massive, but it just makes for an unenjoyable experience. And I have seen on streams of Grandmaster players that they do often get games where they're playing with full Grandmaster players, which makes me really happy. It makes me feel like the system has improved greatly. But the fact that I have lost 17 more games than I've won for the season does show that there are still some pretty big problems with the game. I also feel like because of this, I don't feel like I'm an isolated incident here because of a non-decaying hidden MMR or something. I feel like this happens often. It's easy to play a game and lose, and somebody's playing poorly, and so you think, wow, how did you make it here? You must be boosted, or you bought your account or something like that. But I do really feel like sometimes I'm playing with players who are also master and just don't deserve to be there. They're poor. Their play is so poor, and they lack fundamental understandings of things, just like I do. So I just feel like the system is allowing players to increase their rating through sheer luck or or just a system that benefits a win more than a loss. It should be, if you lose, you should lose 200. If you win, you should win 200. I mean, I think that should be it. And aside from extreme cases where you're heavily favored to lose and you win, so you get an upset win, and you should be rewarded more for that. But to have this many more losses than wins, and to have improved my rating for the season is beyond ridiculous. I just don't see how that's feasible in any ranking system that's working correctly. So please let me know if you have had similar experiences, or if there's something about the new ranking system that I'm not quite understanding. Maybe there's a misunderstanding here. I don't know. Like I said, it was just my initial thoughts after I'd come back and I'd played the rank system. So again, let me know what you think. Let me know what's going on here if I'm missing something, and look forward to seeing the comments. Thanks, guys.